So David Morrell came back with another impressive victory. I didn't have a chance to talk about the fight because I was traveling. However, I did watch the fight. David Morrell was impressive just like always. He has too many tools. As you guys saw in the first round, he was playing around, messing around, having too much fun. Then in the corner, his trainer told him, snap out of it. This is a fight. So if it's too easy, go out there and finish him. Which that's exactly what David Morrell did. And the way he did it, there are so much little things that David Morrell does. It's highly impressive. This man is very skillful and very talented. As long as he stays focused, the sky is the limit. Now after the fight, David Morrell, he made it very clear. He only wants to fight a particular fighter, and that's David Benavidez, the Mexican monster. David Morrell said 100%, that's who I want next. Additionally, Morrell promoter said they see fear in Benavidez and they want him to stop fighting 154-pounders. Clearly, Morrell and his team is so confident, and you can see why they so confident even though David Morrell only has 10 fights. He's already on a fast track. However, they want to put him even on a faster track by fighting David Benavidez. I mean, can you really blame them? Look at how David Morrell is going through his oppositions. He's making these guys look like bums when they are not. That's why David Morrell is more than ready for the big-time boxing. He's ready for the Canelo Alvarez, the David Benavidez, the Bivol, the Benavidez, you name it, because he has all of the talent in the world. It's too easy for him in the ring, like we saw last night. The moment Rodney Shield told David Morrell in the corner after the first round, stop playing and get your opponent out of there if it's too easy, Morrell did exactly that. He stopped playing with his food and got his opponent out of there. So Morrell doesn't need any stay busy fights, any tune-up fights. He's ready for the best fighters available, and that's David Benavidez. David Morrell said there can't be boogeymen in one division. He's the only boogeyman. So he wants David Benavidez next, the Mexican monster, 100%. Now, that decision is all going to be up to Canelo Alvarez. If he chooses to fight David Benavidez next, then the Benavidez fight obviously is going to be off the table for David Morrell, since it makes more sense for Benavidez to fight Canelo. However, if Canelo continues to avoid David Benavidez, then David Benavidez is going to have no choice but to fight David Morrell. At that point, David Benavidez is not going to have anybody else to fight. There's nobody out there that Benavidez can fight next. I mean, just think about it. Who is out there that Benavidez can fight next that's also willing to fight him as well? Don't forget about that part. There's literally nobody. Benavidez is just as avoided as ever. Outside of David Morrell, there's nobody raising his hand, wanting to fight David Benavidez. That's why I see Benavidez fighting Morrell if the Canelo Alvarez fight fall apart, which that's most likely the case since Canelo Alvarez came out stating he's not fighting Benavidez next because he want to continue building the fight. Clearly, Canelo Alvarez wants no part of David Benavidez, and he's going to continue avoiding Benavidez as long as he can. Therefore, we shall see if the Mexican monster is going to fight the Cuban master in order to decide who's really the best 168-pounder is. Is it Benavidez or Morrell? Because Canelo is out of the loop. He wants no smoke with the best fighters in his division that fight on the same network he fights on, PBC. Last but not least, I'm not a fan of David Morrell fighting once a year. I mean, he's too young for that, and his career is only beginning. David Morrell needs to be fighting at least 4 times a year if they're going to give him the type of opposition he has been facing. However, if they can find Morrell better opposition, then he can fight 3 times a year. For example, in 2024, Morrell can fight Anthony Durrell, Caleb Plant, and then David Benavidez, all in the same year. I saved Benavidez for last because Benavidez is a realist. When he talked about Morrell, he kept it a buck, acknowledging Morrell as his biggest rival. David Benavidez said, that will be his toughest fight. Tougher than the Canelo Alvarez fight and anybody else. Also, Benavidez's team is pushing for Morrell to actually fight Caleb Plant first and other fighters before getting the David Benavidez fight, so they know how much of a threat David Morrell is. That's why if David Morrell is not going to get these mega fights, then they have to keep him busy as possible with the best opposition available, like at least an Anthony Durrell. We all know Morrell has the potential to be a superstar and one of the best to ever do it in the sport. So hopefully PBC will capitalize on David Morrell's talent by having him fight more often. Because you guys heard what David Benavidez has been saying about Morrell lately. He wants him to build his name. So when they do fight, the fight is going to be even bigger. Due to that, I don't see Benavidez fighting David Morrell anytime soon. Clearly, he views David Morrell as too much of a threat. On the other hand, David Morrell, he made it very clear. 100% he wants David Benavidez next. If he can't get Benavidez, then he's willing to fight Caleb Plant, Anthony Durrell, or whoever he can get his hands on. The only problem with that, I don't see anybody willing to fight Morrell. If Benavidez is not going to do it, nobody will. I actually believe Benavidez is the only one that may step up to the table to fight Morrell if he can't get anyone else. Only time will tell. David Benavidez put the world on notice when he knocked out Demetrius Andrade, and David Morrell last night put David Benavidez on notice, letting him know that he wants to fight nobody else but him. With the facts being laid out, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe below, and to be continued on the next episode of Akhi TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.